Hello everyone. Let's talk about fundamentals of programming languages. Agenda for today is we'll talk about first history of C language. Second, we'll talk about types of programming languages, and the third, we'll talk about how the C program structures look like. Let's move with the C programming history. So as we know that if you wanted to talk to the computer system as a programmer, right, so we have to have a program, okay, which should have a particular program structures in which you can provide a certain input to the computer system and we get an output in the same form, right? Okay, so everything starts in a programming history starting from 1951, which was nothing but the second generation era, in which there was a language called as Fortran. So this stands for formula translations, which was used for your scientific applications actually, and this is nothing but the high level. Okay, we'll see what is this high and low levels are. And after that, in 1957, there was a one language which was used for business applications, and which is nothing but the COBOL, that is Common Business Oriented Language. Okay, and then the era of C started from 1960. So in 1960s, there was a language called as ALGOL, which was nothing but an algorithmic language, okay, which is again a high-level programming language which was used for certain business applications. Then in 1967, so Martin Richard has invented a one programming language called as BCPL, that is Basic Combined Programming Language. Again, it is a structured language, you can say. Structures means there is some specific structures, or we can say there is some procedures to implement a computer program. And in 1969, so there is a person who is called as Ken Thompson. Okay, he was actually a founder of Go language and worked in a Google also. Okay, and he was working on a project which is nothing but the Unix, which is a kernel, you can say. And this Unix actually a predecessor of, you can say, Linux kernel, and then we have a various Linux kernel based operating systems. Okay, so Unix was an operating system where he was contributing, and he has taken some features of BCPL and having its own idea, and then he introduced a B language which was used for Unix contribution. And then finally C was developed, okay, which was more acceptable, more standardized, you can say. In 1972, a person called as Dennis Ritchie, who invented C language in Bell Laboratories actually. So now this Bell has been called as AT&T Bell Lab, which was one of the telecommunication provider in United States. So Dennis Ritchie used ALGOL plus BCPL certain features and plus B features, and having its own idea, then the C was born. So this is what a birth of C language. And this history helped a lot, okay, for developing a certain standards in C language as well. So let's look at the history in terms of statements. Like 1960s, ALGOL was being used, and which was used in Europe and influenced many other programming languages also. In 1967, we had a BCPL, that is developed by Martin Richards, okay, for system software. So this is actually you can build softwares like system related system programming. And then the B language was created by Ken Thompson. B was simplified version of BCPL and used in any early Unix development, as I said. Then the birth of C language, Dennis Ritchie at Bell Labs developed C by combining features of all this. And then we have designed Unix operating system also to build. Then there was a standardization of the C because it was gained certain popularity. And then ANSI, that is American National Standard Institute, standardized in 1989 and followed by, let's say, ISO. And then C is called as a mother of all the languages, because every syntax or every particular concepts is getting inherited from C language only. So because of that, C has influenced many modern languages like C++, Java, Python, PHP. Okay, so this way C has influenced many programming languages. Now we have looked into the C evolutions, like starting with Algol was the programming language, and then later on we have seen BCPL, and after that there is a B language, and then Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie invented C. Then it has become standardized and was given a okay new edition of C99 as a with added features. Then next is types of programming languages. As we know that we have a particular hardware. Okay, so on top of the hardware we have something called as operating system. This is your operating system. Okay, and this is what your hardware is. And on top of this operating systems we have something called as applications. These are your applications are running, right? And so if we write a program which is nothing but high level programming, so high level programming needs to be converted to the low level programs from here to here to understand by the hardware, right? So this way we can categorize the phenomena of programming languages. Like high level programming languages that we can talk about is COBOL, Pascals, Python and Java, so which is used for your application software. Then low level programmings are nothing but talking to the machine, okay, which is in the help of binary code, we can say, and this we call it as a low level programs, right? And then in between those we can categorize them as an assembly level programming language, that is nothing but the C and C++. So high level talk to the OS, and then OS will talk to the hardware, okay, with the help of a kernel. Then C bridges the graph of between high level and low level programming language. So C is a mid level, right? This can be used for your high level applications also, or this can be used for your low level like system softwares also. So high level programming languages can have as features like English like syntax, support structure programming. It's portable also across the various platforms. We can move your .c file or maybe .java file, okay, to any platform, right? Low level is actually having a direct access to the memory via pointed. So we know that there is a RAM, okay, in which we need certain access with the help of certain functions. It can manipulate the hardware registers also, because we have some processors in which we have some registers which actually stores the value, that is CPU. And then minimal abstractions from the machine hardware. So this exactly looks what your hardware is, what kind of architecture of your hardware is, that is low level. And this is what a syntax like Python syntax is, which is a high level programming language, it can look like this. C is a mid level, so we have a couple of things like pre-processor directives, and then there is a main int main function, and then we have opening and closing of the function. And assembly programming that we actually talks in terms of assembly languages, like there is move some dx to the particular, okay, offset order register. So this way we move our, or maybe we add the values in terms of statement. So that is nothing but talking to the actual hardware. And this is a simple C program structure, simple C program to understand. Okay, now inside a C program to start with, so we have to write first is called as header file, that is hash include stdio.h. So this is nothing but the preprocessor and directives, and which says that includes this stdio.h is nothing but the library, you can say. Like we have a library, and inside a library we have lot many books to read, right? So if it is present, then we can use those books for reading, simple. Then we have something called as a main function inside a C, in which we specify a return type something. So we know that if you your function is, so function should return a particular value, or what type of data it is, right? So int stands for integer. Now then there is opening and closing of the curly braces, and inside that we have something called as a declaration of the variables. This is declaring a variable. Variable is something called as a container inside a memory where we actually store the value, maybe let's say 10, and that is given a name. Okay, so this name is given as like number, okay, to this container. Then we have something called as a printf statement. So printf says that you can print something on the console. That is, here we are printing something like enter a number, so that we are asking a users to enter a number actually. So this is just a print statement. So this printf is present inside this library. That's what we can use this, and this is called as a built-in function, which is a built-in method, we can say, which you can use it, right? And this is a keyword, you can say, proper keyword, printf. And then after that, it is, if it is asking for prompting a particular message for a data input, okay, from a user on the console, then we have to scan it. So it is taking data, and then we have to specify what type of data it is, and that is called as a format specifier. That is %d is for integer, int value. If it is a float value, then it is %f. And then the number, the variable name, and ampersand is the sign which indicates if you have a particular variable, and to reach out to that variable, so there is something called as a memory address, and this memory address that you can denote with the help of this ampersand, so that on that memory address you can get a value which is stored as a 10. It's like something a person like having a Santosh name, which is identity, and if you wanted to figure out this Santosh, we go to the address of that Santosh location, that is his home residence, to get the Santosh identity. And then next is, if you printed and you have taken an input from the user, okay, in terms of integer value, and you wanted to print it, the same function can be used, that is printf, and you entered with the format specifier that integer value you're supposed to print, and you have to specify the variable name so that it will print the output in what manner that you expect it to. And then finally we have a statement called as return 0. So because we have declared a function return type as an integer, and it should return 0 or 1 something. So it means that it tells the successful executions of the program, you can say, successful. So most of the modern compilers are not needed to write this return 0, because it already aware or already having this return 0 as an inbuilt statement. Okay, so this is about the C program structure, okay, which you can take and execute. Okay, now let's see the next C programs on the console, okay, in the next session.